Hello, this is a bonus video because I got my hair done today. I got 2 inches cut off. As you can see, it made a huge difference. She did say my hair was starting to grow back, that she thought it was starting to grow back. So that's good news. Coming up on my 2-year mark. So, yeah, I'd say probably, let's see if that's like a new one. My hair does grow fast. Um, yeah, I guess I'm about 8 inches from like the original. So I don't know like at what point it really started to grow back. Probably last year. But yeah, anyways, I had an idea for this video because, I do watch a lot of other channels and we all have different rules from our surgeons and our, follow-up visits. And, I see in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in that lots of people are asking questions. And, I think like at some point, you know, you just gotta bite the bullet and try different things, see how things work for you, because not everybody's journey is going to be the same as yours. Not everybody's likes and dislikes are going to be the same as yours. And yeah, it really bugs me when people just seem to want to ask for like too much information, especially from like essentially peers, where like we don't know anything about each other if you're just, a rando in a Facebook group. So my video is about weight loss rules that I break. So the 6 rules that I break, and not just weight loss rules, I should say, but I think most of them are specific to bariatric patients. So the first rule that I break is the rule to not weigh yourself every day. That's probably a general rule, but I like to weigh myself every day. And it really comes in handy actually for seeing progress because I put it in my Fitness Pal, although there's like a million apps you could probably use. Put it in my Fitness Pal every day that, a scale's available. And so like a year from now, I'll be able to see what I weigh today, and which is 193.6, and I'll be able to see the progress I made. And 1 year ago, I can see the progress that I've made. So even when things, when you have like a bunch of slow weeks in a row, especially when you get like 2 years out like me, and you're still I'm still playing with my bangs, still trying to work toward a goal, you can see the progress that you've made. So for me, like 1 year last year, I think I'm down 23 pounds. So it might seem small, like 23 pounds in a year, but at this point, it is a larger percentage of my body weight than it was, in the beginning of my journey. The other rule that I break, personal rule I break, is I hate saying journey, but I keep saying it because I'm used to so many videos saying the same words. Okay. My next rule that I break, and this one is kind of like a clickbaity one, is meal prep. I don't meal prep. Asterisk. I do meal prep, but I do everything separately. I store it separately. And the reason is because I don't want to get into the habit of having a little bit more than I need, or, that satisfies me. Like, so rather than make, like I'll say a pasta dish, but actually it's palmini, hearts of palm pasta. I originally saw it at Trader Joe's, and I need to check to see if it's going to be discontinued. I hope not. If not, I have learned that there's a brand called Palmini that was on Shark Tank, and apparently everybody loves it. And it's very much like what I had. And it's just hearts of palm. It's low carb, if that is something that you follow. It has, I think, no sugar, and it doesn't taste like anything, which is totally fine to me because pasta itself doesn't really taste like anything. It's more of like a sauce holder. And it doesn't have anything in it like to make it like gummy or to make it pasta-ish. You know, like some of the mushroom ones, the shiitake pasta ones are disgusting. I'm so pissed now. Like, even when I think about it, when I was doing keto like several years ago, of the homemade Alfredo sauce that I made and poured it on the pasta without tasting it. I literally just had to throw it all away. But anyway, tangent. Yeah, when I say don't meal prep, I store everything separate. So I don't make a giant thing of chicken Alfredo pasta or palmini. I do the pasta, the sauce or vegetables, and chicken. So that way, anytime I am preparing something, I gotta mix all the ingredients. It's not something that I can just easily get. I do that also with my salads. I store everything separate. Obviously, I don't, for my favorite salad that has like 2 ounces of sweet potato, I don't, bake 2 ounces of sweet potato at a time. I bake the 2 potatoes, cut them up and all that, and then store that separate. The like arugula or kale is separate, the cheese is separate, the dressing is separate. Although that's pretty normal. So everything is prepared but not together. And another big one, especially with that salad, are the nuts. Like I used to toast, my week of salad almonds at once. And somehow they never made it to the end of the week. I usually had I would just pick it, as I was toasting them or after they came out before, I ate my lunch, or I would, have a quick snack and eat, some of them. But now I just do my 2 tablespoons at a time because that's just the thing that it's a high calorie thing and I can't control myself. And if I can't control myself, I'd rather it not be something like so high calorie. So I'm gonna put a video right here. This is how I do my nuts.
All right, so here is an example of what I mean by not meal prepping too much. This is a tablespoon and a half of almonds. I normally have 2 tablespoons, but this is the end of the bag. So what I do is, rather than toasting a bunch of almonds at once, I'll measure out just what I want for that salad. I'll spray with some olive oil. And then this is I just use this truffle salt as regular salt. I mean, except for obviously sweet stuff or baking or something like that. Put some salt on there. And then I microwave it for 90 seconds. Your time may vary, but that is what I do rather than prepping a bunch, because what I find is by the time I have a next salad, there's a lot less nuts than the 2 tablespoons I need. So that is it.
Okay. Another rule that I break, and as far as my surgeon is concerned, it is not, I'm following the rules, I'm not breaking the rules. I don't have protein shakes. Now, I will say that my blood work comes back normal for protein. So I'm not showing a deficit or anything like that. But my surgeon and doctor's office does not want me to have protein shakes. They would rather I get my protein and calories from actual food. And I actually prefer that because I don't I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't have that reason, to have it as like a creamer. I think that probably makes sense because you might as well get some protein if you're using it as a coffee creamer. I know Mini Me in Tennessee does that. Grace Gets Gastric, I think, does that. So I think for that purpose, it's probably good. And if you just like it, you might as well have it. If you're not a breakfast person and you prefer just to drink something, that's fine. But for me, I enjoy food and I enjoy getting my calories from food. And thankfully, that is something that my doctor prefers, although I know a lot of doctors don't. So that is a rule I break. I do not drink protein shakes. The next rule I break is avoiding soda. Okay, I was a Diet Coke addict. I would have several a day. I like really, like probably a couple years ago, actually, when I got a lap band is when I first decreased it. Like I was probably having four to, no, 3 to 4 a day. And then with lap band, my version of cutting back was 2 a day. So I would always have my morning one. That was basically my replacement of coffee because I don't drink coffee, or don't like coffee, I should say. That was my caffeine source. And then I would usually have one with lunch. Um, and that was like basically the highlight of my day. So I have given up Diet Coke. Although you have a rule, I'll talk about that. But one thing that I do, I'm using my computer as my light, if you can't tell. One thing that I do buy is diet root beer, and I'll keep one like an open can in the fridge if I want to have a sip, and maybe throughout the day or maybe throughout 2 days. If I'm just like anxious and want something sweet or something, I'll just take a sip of diet root beer. I'm not replacing water with soda or anything like that. And the reason I choose root beer is because I'm very sensitive to caffeine and don't want to have it in the evening. Um, but yeah, that's what I have, like just if I'm craving something sweet. I also get in my water probably about a gallon a day. So that I think makes a difference. If you're someone that struggles with water, this might not be something that would work for you. And none of these things might work for you. These are things that I have found that have worked for me and have gotten me so far to being down 103 pounds since surgery and 126 pounds since my highest weight. I think that's what it is. You can look on the last video or the next video. Um, so yeah, I probably should have started with a disclaimer, but I mean, you're this far anyway. The next rule I break is to not buy new clothes. And this is also a halfway rule that I break. First of all, you'll be surprised how many sizes you'll skip. You'll also be surprised at how far you can get with some of the clothes that you already have, which is why I break this rule sometimes. I am wearing the same torrid leggings that I wore 120 pounds ago. Same size. They're just quality leggings. So they have good stretch, they have a good wide waistband. Um, and tops obviously are more forgiving, but I think what a lot of times we don't realize, especially with plus size clothing, is there is stretch in almost everything, and you don't realize when you're stretching something bigger versus, and it still looks good, versus it fitting and not stretching, and it can still look good if it fits and is not stretching, and can look good if it's stretching. That's just the nature of clothing. And I think part of that is not just fluctuation in size, but fluctuation in how our bodies sit, like when we're sitting and when we're moving. There's more stuff like moving around. So the stretch obviously does help. um, but one thing in like showing progress, I think, is buying something that's tight that has no stretch. And it's getting harder and harder to do that, I think, especially with things like jeans. I mean, all my jeans are skinny jeans; they all have stretch. And over the summer, I bought a pair of wide leg jeans from H&M that are a size 14. And when I got them, they did not fit. I could get them on because they're wide leg, but I could not zipper it at all. I couldn't do the button at all, and now I can. The funny thing is like they're definitely summer jeans because they're cropped, and they'll probably be too big by next summer. So that's why it's good to do it from like H&M or something. I think they were $14. One that I didn't intentionally get, but has been really helpful in seeing my progress, was I got a pair of jeans from River Island, like a UK store, and They are snakeskin, like print, but like a light one. If you follow Fashion Mumblers, she featured it last year in like her summer hauls, like in 2019, like so many times that I was just obsessed with them. And they were always sold out. And then one day they had a size 18, but it was a UK 18, which means it was a US 14. And I wasn't really paying attention. And I think I saw that it was a UK 18, but I didn't necessarily know what that would be for US. So I bought them, and these suckers did not even come up my thighs. They are skinny jeans, although a little bit straighter, like on the bottom. Um, but they fit now, and I really like that. I know for sure there has been progress because these things have no stretch, or at least not enough stretch where you could I could get it over my thighs, and yeah, I really like that. So that's kind of like a tiny rule that I break, and I don't. I still think you obviously should not buy a whole wardrobe for every you know size or every season or anything like that. Buy a lot of transition type of pieces and that sort of thing. And obviously, if you need stuff for work, um, you know, some of those things you have to buy sooner than others. For me, this is what I work in. Um, but yeah, it's I think it's good to buy a couple things, maybe a size or two small, um, that have no stretch, so you can see your progress, and make them cheap. Go to H&M or a store like that. Um, if you can avoid it, don't go to a plus size store. And the only reason I say that is I think there is some vanity sizing at plus size stores. If you watched my podcast with Michael Malice, I talked about I was like on the show and I wore a size zero dress. I mean, obviously I know I'm not a size zero, but you know, that zero I think is like a 14, 16, or no, yeah, I think it's like a 14, 16, possibly 18, or I think all those sizes because of the stretch could fit into it. So if I bought a plus size 14, that's more equivalent to a standard size 16. um, so I just think it helps to know like where you are, because you can be a 14. Like I think like last summer or this past summer I was probably a 14 women's, but a 16 um, juniors, or not juniors, women, regular straight size, whatever. I don't even know what like the correct term is now anymore. Um, and now I am a 14 in straight sizes. So that's my advice: to buy something new, buy it cheap, and buy it without stretch, so you can see your progress. The final rule that I break, this is another one that's kind of clickbaity, but it's totally true. And apologies to anyone who is committed to doing this. I have my reasons. I don't take bariatric vitamins. I don't take vitamins made specifically for bariatric patients. I think uh, they're overpriced. I don't have a problem swallowing pills at this point. I did take some chewables at the beginning, but at this point, I still take my Flintstones because that's what the doctor recommended. I take 2 Flintstones because it has the iron in it, and I take a B12 that happens to be chewable, but I bought it because of the price and the amount, not because it was chewable or for a bariatric patient. And then everything else, except for the calcium, like the Vita Chews, because the treat. Um, Everything else is a swallow, like something I swallow. And obviously, if you're not at that point yet or don't like pills in general, this advice is not for you. But for me, I think that they take advantage of bariatric patients by labeling things bariatric when they don't necessarily have to be. And that could be for, anything, even if you like gummies. you can take gummies that are not labeled for bariatric or chewables that are not labeled for bariatric. But one thing that I would encourage you to do is look at the carbs. I don't count net carbs because I think that's a way that I would cheat. I just look at carbs. And I know there's a lot that are sugar free. And I don't really know the science behind like sugar alcohols and whether that has like metabolic things. But if you add up just carbs, even sugar alcohol carbs on a lot of the gummies, I mean, you could end up with 20, depending on what your doctor recommends as far as like types of vitamins, 20 carbs just from gummies, because you don't want to swallow a pill, or because, obviously it tastes better to have a gummy. So I guess my real advice is more things labeled for bariatric patients. Um, yeah, that's something I feel very strongly about. And I don't want to like name brand or like brand shame anybody, so I won't bother with that. But yeah, I just think there are lots of different options for even small pills. Amazon is a really good place because you can look at specific brands if you like a specific brand, and because there's so many reviews. And what's helpful about the reviews, particularly if you're a person that maybe sometimes has an issue like swallowing a pill. Lots of people post like photos of the pill in their hand or their pill next to something, and you can get a feeling for how big it is. I get all my vitamins on Amazon just because it's easier for me. So that's pretty much it. Those are the 6 rules that I break. I break. I do weigh myself every day. Sometimes I don't or I meal prep like in an odd way. I don't drink protein shakes. I do have diet soda sometimes. Oh, I was going to tell you my other rule for diet soda, specifically Diet Coke. My rule is that I don't pay for it. And the reason is the place where I get my pedicures, you get a free drink whenever you go. And that is when I have my diet soda. So, or Diet Coke. I keep saying diet soda, like I'm from the South. It's Diet Coke. So I have probably one a month. And then I guess the other exception would be if someone bought one for me. But yeah, that's my rule is I can't buy it. So the other 2 rules I break are buying new clothes and taking bariatric vitamins. So I hope this is helpful and obviously in good fun. Like I said, it's more of like for the clickbait factor, but also like I think some helpful advice for me, actual things that I do to hopefully be successful. So I hope everyone is having a good weekend, and I'll see you for my weekly update on Wednesday. Bye.